right, good afternoon. Pardon Board is reconvening. We're at Raymond Laborde Correctional Center with staff at Raymond Laborde. Please introduce yourself for the record.
Good afternoon, Mr. Johnson and everyone. Warden Marcus Myers.
Deputy Warden Keith Turner.
Everybody? All right. Today is Monday, April 24th, 2023. It's 2:28 p.m. We have one case there at your facility, and that is Mr. Harris. Good afternoon, Mr. Harris. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your DOC number, please.
My name is Cleveland Harris, DOC number 122646.
Mr. Harris, you're here for the Pardon Board this afternoon seeking a commutation of your sentence. You were sentenced in April 2010 in Orleans Parish, 2 counts of first-degree robbery. You received a 20-year sentence. Is that accurate?
Ma'am.
All right, let me first acknowledge the folks that we have that have joined us by Zoom today. We have, and I think you should be able to see them, your sisters, Rochelle and Rachel, who are here in support. Mr. Harris, your case has been assigned to Mr. Roche. Would you answer any questions he may have?
Good morning. Well, good afternoon, Mr. Harris. How are you?
Fine, sir.
Good. Madam Chairman, board members, we have Cleveland Harris III, DOC number 122646. Mr. Harris is here this afternoon seeking a recommendation. And Mr. Harris, correct me if I'm wrong, you don't necessarily want a commutation of sentence, you want parole eligibility. Is that correct?
Correct, sir.
Yeah. Because you have a 20-year sentence, but that sentence came without a parole eligibility date. So you requested this morning a parole eligibility date for a 2011 conviction for 2 counts of first-degree robbery. You were originally arrested on April 21st, 2010 for armed robbery and simple robbery. The charges were dismissed. A week later, you were rearrested on April 28, 2010 and charged with 1 count, 2 counts of armed robbery. Is that correct?
Correct.
And went to trial on August 22nd, 2011. Actually, you didn't go to trial, you pled guilty to the amended charge of 2 counts of first-degree robbery, and you were sentenced as an habitual offender to 20 years each count at hard labor. And those sentences were to run concurrently. Your total sentence was 20 years. Is that correct?
Correct.
Mr. Harris is currently 52 years old. At the time of the robberies, he was 39 years old. The applicant has been incarcerated for 13 years as of this month. Is that correct?
Correct. But I think I was 40 years. 40 years old.
According to my calculation, it was 39, just about to reach 40. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you have a good time date of April 29th, 2029, and a full term date in April of 30. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
But you do not have a parole eligibility date.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Harris is a 4th felony offender with 15 plus adult arrests, a history of violence, And 10 of the 15 arrests deal with some type of violence. All of the felony convictions were for theft, burglary, simple or armed robbery. Mr. Harris, tell this panel exactly what was happening when you arrested all of these robberies and burglaries. You were only 17 years old when you first got arrested for your first burglary, then you graduated to armed robbery. You have 15 arrests between the ages of 17 and 39. What was the problem? Was it drugs, alcohol, bad company, or you just had a bad home life?
I'm gonna say it was a lot of everything. It was mainly drugs, alcohol, bad company, basically everything.
So when did you start using drugs?
I believe I started using crack cocaine at the age of between 17 and 18 years old.
Did you do anything before crack cocaine?
Feel me?
Did you use any other illegal drug before you started using cocaine?
I first started off with marijuana, a little alcohol. I graduated.
When did you start using marijuana?
I believe I was 15, more like 15 years old.
Okay, and when did you graduate to cocaine?
Between 17 and 18 years old.
And how long did you use cocaine?
Basically all my adult life, but it would be off and on. Times I would get myself together, go to get myself enrolled in drug treatment programs, but it was always, my drug uses have always been off and on.
Now, what program did you complete?
I went to the blind house.
Drug abuse program did you complete?
None of the drug program I completed. I always left early.
Did you enroll in any programs?
Did I enroll in any program?
Yes.
Since I've been caught.
Okay, let me use a better word. Did you start any program and didn't complete it?
No, sir. Never completed. Started, but I never completed.
You knew you were a drug addict. Why didn't you try to get help with your problem?
Once I detoxed, I always felt like I had it, that I was going to do right. Once I pretty much got a lot of the drugs out of my systems and participated in some of the activities that the drug treatment provided, I always reached the point where I just knew I had it, that I wasn't going to do drugs anymore. And I would leave, but eventually I would find my way back to the drugs.
But Mr. Harris, you just said that you've never started a drug treatment program.
Sound like,
I know, but what I'm saying,
oh, yes, I did. That's what I thought I was saying. Started the program, but I never would complete the program.
okay, that's okay. See, I asked you the question, did you ever start any programs? And you said no.
I'm sorry, sir. I misunderstood. Yes, I did start some programs, treatment programs.
But you never completed it.
Never completed.
Okay. So, and you've been incarcerated for 13 years now. Have you taken any programs, education, all treatment programs to help you solve your problem with drug addiction and alcohol.
Yes, sir. I took NAAA for 6 months. And I believe the program it didn't, it halted for a while. And I got into living in balance.
Okay. I was just about to tell you, NAAA meaning is not substance abuse treatment. Living in balance is substance abuse education. So tell me what you got out of living in balance.
Well, living in balance, it touched a lot of areas in my life, as with drug addiction. It pinpointed a lot of the things that the reasons why I got started back on drugs. It showed me about the people and the places and the things and all the things that I was indulging in. It pinpointed those areas. It showed me where I would always fall short with my drug addiction.
So tell what other programs you completed in the 13 years?
I've completed Cage of Rage. I completed pre-release. Culinary arts. I got an associate's degree in Ashland University. I was in in the JP program, the Juvenile Awareness Program. I was what other program? I completed NOB.
Nurturing fathers.
You know, sir?
Nurturing fathers.
Nurturing fathers as well. Yes, sir.
So tell me about your educational advancement. I see you earned a GED in 2012.
Yes, yes, sir.
And you got a degree from Ashland.
Yes, sir.
And I see that you're self-serve instructor.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about your serve safe instructor. How long have you been doing that?
I believe I did that for maybe a year and a half, and I taught it in the culinary. But since culinary has been closed, I no longer teach it.
Okay.
And
So what is your current job assignment?
I'm actually Warden Meyer orderly.
Okay. All right. If you had to work for anybody in the facility, I would like to work for the warden also. Any organizational or community service involved?
No, sir.
You don't belong to any organizations at regular board?
Oh, yeah, yes, sir. I'm in human relationship civil organization.
Okay.
HRCO. I'm affiliated with that club.
What type of transition plan do you have in place if and when you release?
I plan on living with my wife once I'm home. I have skills prior to coming to prison, I have worked on shipyards and chemical plants. I was a first class pipe fitter for about 7 years or so. I own a lawn service called CNV Landscape. that's basically about what I plan on doing once I get home.
You have opposition from the superintendent of police in New Orleans, Louisiana. The judge had no comment, the DA's office had no comment. And there's no letters of opposition and there's no letters of support. You've been on supervision 7 times. The good thing about that, Mr. Harris, is that there is no indication that you will ever revoke. You completed all 7 periods of supervision. I don't see that often. So you do well on supervision.
Yes, sir.
But why do you keep coming to jail?
Because I realize now that my journey, all my misbehavior, that I was a very selfish person. I mean, it was all about me. Whatever I wanted to do, that's exactly what I did, even if it was breaking the law, which I did a lot of. You know, I just, you know, I was growing up. I mean, I took to the streets, and I always thought that, you know, that was the way that I wanted to live. And, you know, but I found out now that I'm much older now, I see that, I mean, that's not a life. That's not a life at all. I was not living at all.
Let's see that the last write-up was November of 2014, some 8.5 years ago, for defiance. So tell me what event, what person, or what program led to the turnaround 8.5 years ago when you decided that this is not the way to live. I need to follow the rules and regulations, and I need to get home to my family.
Well, sir, I understood that the day I arrived that I needed to make a change. The very day I walked in here, and I realized that I had a 20-year flat sentence to serve at my age. And I believe that day I talked to my higher power, and I said, no matter what happens to me, or whether I lose my family, which I didn't want to lose my family while doing a 20-year sentence. But I told myself that I need help and I need to focus on working on me. And that had always been my mindset, but I still had a whole lot of garbage inside of me, the way my thinking. I still carried that baggage around with me. And that when I committed that defiance on I believe it was Lieutenant Juno, I still had a lot of garbage inside of me. And I regret not apologizing to him, but I mean, you know, but I realized that I made a terrible, terrible mistake. So it was already, my mind was already set on coming in here and work on me this time. Every single time I went to prison and was convicted and served a sentence, I did the same exact things over and over. Got into a whole lot of foolishness because it was still there, but this time it was different.
Need some comments from, and just tell me how Mr. Harris is doing.
Yes, sir, Mr. Roche. As you can tell, he's pretty nervous. He's normally a little better spoken than this, but he's been pretty nervous. But he's done a good job. Cleveland, I believe he's made I believe what he's telling you is true. I believe he's made a turnaround. He's realized the error of his ways. I respect the fact that he takes ownership of his crimes, the things that he did, the harm that he caused, not only to himself, but his victims, his family. He's done numerous things to improve himself. He's got his education, GED. He's got an associate's degree through a university, been to numerous classes, as you mentioned, many years, right up free now. And he works, for me, and I'm not the easiest guy in the world to work for, but he does a pretty good job. I trust him around my family. I respect his work ethics. He has a good work ethic. He has every reason in the world to succeed. He does, and he has the tools and the ability. So I believe if the board sees fit today, I believe he would be a success story. I would like to see him given an opportunity to at least get a parole date, if not a commutation of sentence. I would like to see that if the board sees fit. I think he's deserving, and he knows if he comes back to prison, and I'm still around, it won't be a good thing. So if he lets me down.
Well, one thing that helps me tremendously is that before you became your orderly, you vetted him completely. And if you found anything that was undesirable, he would not be your orderly.
Sure.
Now, let me ask you a question, Warden. Is there any other programs available at Raymond Board that can help him with his drug addiction?
Well, he's completed, and we've talked about this. He's going to need continuous, whether he stays here or goes home. He's going to need continuous drug treatment. But I would like to recommend that and I've talked to him about this. He needs to be in our victim awareness program. He needs to complete that class because he's had a lot of victims, as you mentioned, crimes of violence. And he agrees with this, and he knows it. And I have him on backlog for it already. He would start within the next couple of weeks, and it'll take him about 3 months to complete that program. So I do believe he needs that, and it would benefit him greatly.
Thank you, Warden. I appreciate the information, and you've been very helpful in helping me to make a decision. Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Roche. I do not see any other questions, so I would ask Mr. Harris if he has a statement he'd like to make to us before we vote.
Yeah, I would like to just thank the board for giving me this opportunity to receive whatever the board decides today. I'm really nervous. I appreciate this day. No matter what the outcome may be, I appreciate it.
Okay. Hey, I think we're ready to vote. Mr. Roche will be voting first.
I enjoyed it, and you were nervous, and I sort of spoke over you a lot, but I think you've turned the corner. And I think you are deserving of some relief. So based on the positive remarks by Warden Meyer and your disciplinary conduct, I'm going to make a recommendation that your sentence is commuted to 18 years with parole eligibility after serving 14 years.
Thank you, Mr. Roche. Mr. Mirabella.
I'm not very good at math. I do agree with Mr. Roche. My vote would be to commute your sentence, and I'll go along with his numbers, 18.
Mr. Freeman.
I agree, and I vote to grant, but I would like to commute his sentence to 15 years.
Mrs. Jackson.
So your recommendation.
18 years with parole eligibility after 14, which is making eligible.
All right, you have done well, and I think you've finally gotten it. It takes a while sometimes but I think you finally got it. So my vote would be to commute, recommend a commutation to 18 years with parole eligibility after having served 14 years.
All right, Mr. Harris. My vote is the same, based on the comments by the warden, and the work that you've put in. My vote would be to commute your sentence to 18 years with parole eligibility after serving 14. So on your behalf, we'll make that recommendation to the governor. Good luck to you, sir. Yes, I'm doing
Yeah, I'll change it.
that. Mr. Freeman has indicated he wants to change his recommendation to the same that the rest of us did, so that we're going to say it on the record, Mr. Freeman. 18,
Yes, 18.
commute to 18 years. All right, Mr. Harris, good luck to you, sir. Thank you, Warden, for accommodating us. We're going to move on. It's 2:54. Thank you.
Yeah.